Okay, so I have a question for you before we even start tonight.
That's ominous. Go ahead.
What is sitting in most people's driveways right now, depreciating, costing them money every single month that nobody ever calls a financial mistake?
Their car.
Their car. And tonight, we're going to talk about exactly why that thing in your driveway might be the single biggest quiet drain on your ability to retire before you're 70.
We spent the last few weeks on index funds, Roth IRAs, the rent versus buy debate, all the big strategic moves, and those matter enormously. But tonight is about something that undercuts all of them before they even get a chance to work.
Okay, Alex, I'm going to ask you the question I always ask you. What exactly are people going to understand by the end of tonight?
By the end of this episode, you'll understand exactly how much your car is actually costing you in lifetime wealth, not just the monthly payment, but the invisible costs of the money you could have invested instead. And you'll have a clear framework for making a different decision.
The invisible cost. That's the part people miss.
Right, because most people look at a car payment and think, it's just $500 a month. I can handle $500 a month.
Which is what most people are paying right now, actually. The average new car payment in the U.S. crossed $550 a month in 2025, and it stayed there into 2026.
And that number alone isn't the whole story. The full cost of owning a typical new car, the payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance, registration, averages out to somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000 a year.
$10,000 to $12,000 per year. That's $1,000 a month, give or take.
And most people just absorb it. It doesn't feel like a choice because it feels like a necessity. You need to get to work. You need to get the kids to school. The car is just infrastructure.
But it's infrastructure you're paying a premium for. And that premium has a compounding cost, meaning the damage doesn't stop at what you spend this year. It echoes forward for decades.
Which is what tonight is really about. Not convincing you to never own a car, but showing you what the math actually looks like when you make this decision on autopilot versus intentionally.
And here's the part that I think will genuinely surprise some people listening right now. The way most Americans buy cars is almost perfectly designed to maximize what they spend and minimize what they build.
It's not a conspiracy, it's just incentives. Car manufacturers, dealerships, and lenders all make more money when you buy new, finance long, and upgrade often. Your interests and their interests are not aligned.
So tonight, we're going to pull that whole machine apart, how it works, why it's so effective at quietly draining wealth, and most importantly, what you can actually do about it.
And we'll do it the way we always do. No jargon, no judgment, just the numbers and what they mean for your actual life.
Let's start with the mechanic that makes cars so expensive, and it's one most people have never heard a name for.
Okay, so imagine you buy a brand new leather couch for $2,000. The moment you sit on it just once, it's now a used couch. If you tried to sell it tomorrow, you get maybe $1,200 for it. That loss of value the instant something is owned and used, that's depreciation.
And cars depreciate faster than almost anything else most people own.
A new car loses roughly 15 to 20% of its value in the first year alone, not because anything breaks, not because you drove it into a ditch, just because it's been titled in your name.
So on a $40,000 car, which is close to the average new car price right now, you could lose $6,000 to $8,000 in value in 12 months without a single thing going wrong.
And it doesn't stop there. By year 5, the average new car has lost somewhere between 50 and 60% of its original value. So that $40,000 car is now worth $16,000 to $20,000.
Okay, I just want to sit with that for a second. You paid $40,000. 5 years later, it's worth maybe $18,000. You lost $22,000 just by owning it.
While also paying interest on the loan you used to buy it, which brings us to the second layer.
Right, the financing piece. Walk me through how a typical car loan actually works, because I think people understand it less than they think they do.
So a car loan is money a lender gives you today so you can buy a car, and you agree to pay it back with interest over a set number of months. Interest is the fee they charge you for lending you that money. It's their profit.
And car loan interest rates, how much extra you're paying, have been painful in 2025 and into 2026.
The average new car loan interest rate is sitting around 7 to 8% right now, which means on a $40,000 car financed over 60 months, 5 years, you could pay an extra $7,000 or $8,000 just in interest charges on top of the purchase price.
So now we're at you paid 40, you spent an extra 8 in interest, and the car's only worth 18. The math is getting brutal.
And here's what most people do at the 5-year mark. They trade it in. They take that $18,000 car to the dealership, get offered maybe $15,000 for it, roll any remaining loan balance into a new loan on a new $40,000 car, and the whole cycle starts again.
This is the part where I need to ask, what's the opportunity cost of all this? Because that's the term Alex keeps trying to sneak past me.
Fair. Every dollar you spend on something is a dollar that can't be invested. So the real cost of any purchase isn't just what you paid, it's what that money would have grown into if you'd kept it.
So what does the opportunity cost look like on that car upgrade cycle?
If you instead took that $550 monthly car payment and invested it, earning the market's historical average of around 10% annually, over 30 years, you'd have roughly $1.1 million.
$1 million sitting in a driveway that keeps getting upgraded. That's the number.
That is the number, and that's what makes this a retirement conversation, not just a car conversation.
So 3 layers eating your wealth simultaneously. The value bleeding out of the car, the premium you paid to borrow, and the future that never gets built. That's the machine.
Perfectly put. And when you stack all 3, a car isn't just a monthly expense. It's a compounding wealth drain operating in 3 dimensions simultaneously.
Coming up, we're going to look at someone who understood all of this better than almost anyone alive, and what his actual car situation looks like might genuinely shock you.
There's a person whose name comes up in almost every conversation about long-term investing. You've probably heard of him, Warren Buffett. The most successful investor of the 20th century, now in his 90s, net worth north of $100 billion.
And what did Warren Buffett drive for most of his adult life? For decades, he drove used cars, not flashy ones, a 2001 Lincoln Town Car that he kept for years. He famously said he thought of every dollar he spent as multiple future dollars he was giving up. And a new car, to him, was just a very expensive way to signal something he didn't care about signaling.
Now, I want to be careful here. Warren Buffett is a billionaire. His car choice doesn't make or break him. But the mindset behind it, that's the thing worth looking at.
Exactly. He saw a new car not as a $40,000 purchase, but as a decision to voluntarily hand $8,000 to a stranger in the first 12 months. That framing changes things.
Let's bring it to someone less extraordinary, because I want to make this feel real for people who are not Warren Buffett. Let's talk about 2 people. Call them Marcus and Priya. Same age, 28, same income, $65,000 a year. Different car decisions.
Marcus buys new. Always has.
Alex finances a new car every 5 years. He always gets something in the $35,000 to $40,000 range. His all-in monthly cost, payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance, runs about $950 a month.
And Priya?
Priya buys used. She targets cars that are 3 to 4 years old, past the steepest value cliff, pays cash or takes a very short loan, and keeps them for 8 to 10 years. Her all-in monthly cost runs about $450.
So the gap between them is $500 a month.
$500 a month that Priya invests, starting at 28. Over 37 years to age 65, at the market's historical average, that $500 a month becomes roughly $1.6 million.
Sigh. $1.6 million from car decisions alone.
Marcus is not a bad person. He's not irresponsible. He just made the default choice. The choice the entire automotive industry is designed to make feel normal and inevitable. And that default choice cost him a retirement.
The default choice cost him a retirement. I want people to hear that. Not because we're here to make anyone feel bad, but because no one ever laid it out that plainly.
And importantly, Marcus probably never felt like he was making a wealth-defining decision at the dealership. He felt like he was solving a transportation problem. That's the trap. It doesn't feel like a financial strategy. It feels like just getting a car.
Okay. I've been sitting here listening to all of this, and I'm ready to push back. Because I think there are some really reasonable objections that people are yelling at their headphones right now.
Go for it.
Objection 1. Used cars break down. Everyone knows someone who bought a used car and got absolutely burned. $1,000 repair bills, constant problems. Isn't the reliability of a new car worth something?
It's a completely fair concern. And the answer is yes, older used cars carry more risk. But Priya isn't buying a 15-year-old mystery car from a stranger. She's targeting certified pre-owned vehicles or cars with full service histories. Cars still under manufacturer warranties in many cases.
Certified pre-owned, meaning a used car that a manufacturer has inspected and will stand behind with a warranty, almost like a used car with a safety net.
Exactly. And even accounting for higher maintenance costs on a used car, let's say an extra $2,000 a year, the math still favors used by a massive margin. $2,000 a year over 30 years is $60,000. The value loss in interest on new cars cost far more than that.
Objection 2. And this is the one I think is actually harder to answer. What about safety? New cars have better safety technology. If this decision affects whether you survive a car crash, the math doesn't matter.
That one deserves a real answer. And here's the honest truth. Cars made after 2018 or so have genuinely excellent safety standards across the board. The gap in safety technology between a 2019 model and a 2026 model is much smaller than the gap between a 2010 and a 2019. If you're buying a car that's 3 to 5 years old, you're not making a meaningful safety sacrifice.
That's a real answer. I'll accept it.
But I want to address the emotional piece too, because I think the math objections are often covering for something deeper.
Say it.
Cars are tied to identity in a way almost nothing else is. What you drive tells a story about you, or at least we believe it does. The new car smell, the clean interior, pulling up somewhere in something that looks successful, that's real. That's a human thing.
I will confess to having felt that. There's something about a new car that just feels like you're doing okay.
And that feeling has a price tag, an extremely steep one. The question isn't whether the feeling is real. It is. The question is whether you want to pay $1 million over a lifetime for it.
When you put it that way. One more psychological barrier I want to name: inertia. People already have a car payment. It's already in the budget. Changing it feels like a project, a whole thing. The path of least resistance is just renewing the same decision.
That's the most expensive force in personal finance. Not bad intentions, not ignorance. Inertia. The tendency to keep doing what you've always done because changing requires a moment of deliberate friction. And dealerships are very good at making that friction invisible.
The friction is the work, and avoiding the work is what costs the $1 million. Okay, I'm convinced. Tell me what to actually do about it.
Before I give you steps, it matters where you're starting because the strategy looks different depending on your situation.
Walk us through both.
If you currently have no savings and an existing car payment, you are not in a position to go buy a different car tomorrow. Your move is to stop the bleeding going forward. Commit to keeping your current car until it is paid off completely. No upgrade. Not next year, not when the new model comes out. Paid off.
And once it's paid off?
Once it's paid off, that payment amount becomes an automatic investment transfer. You are already living without that money. Keep living without it. Just redirect it to your brokerage instead of a lender.
That is such a clean move. You don't feel the lifestyle change because you already adjusted.
Exactly. Now, if you already have some savings, say $5,000 or more, and your car is aging but paid off, resist the upgrade impulse aggressively. Every additional year you drive a paid-off car is worth more than most people realize.
Because you're avoiding the value hit on a new purchase, avoiding new interest charges, and keeping your cash available to compound.
3 simultaneous wins, 1 decision.
Okay, 3 micro actions. Tomorrow morning, make them tiny and specific.
Micro action 1. Tomorrow morning, pull up your bank statement and add up everything you spent on your car last month. Payment, insurance, gas, anything car-related. Get the real number. Write it down. Most people have never done this, and the number surprises them.
Just knowing the real number changes how you see the decision. That alone is powerful.
Micro action 2. Go to any free compound interest calculator online, there are several good ones, and type in that monthly car cost. Set the time frame to the number of years until you want to retire. Set the growth rate to 7%, which is conservative. Look at the number it spits out. Let it land.
That number is the real price of your current car situation. Not the sticker, not the monthly, that number.
Micro action 3. If you currently have a car payment, find out your exact payoff amount. Just call the lender or check the app. Then set a calendar reminder for that payoff date with one note. Redirect this payment to investments the day this is paid off. You don't have to do anything else right now. Just name the date.
I love that one. You're not disrupting your life, you're just making a commitment to your future self so that future you doesn't make the default move.
Most wealth isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in the decisions nobody sees. The car you didn't buy, the upgrade you didn't take, the payment you redirected.
Tonight, we talked about why cars are one of the most overlooked wealth drains most people carry. Not because cars are evil, but because the entire system around buying them is designed to cost you the maximum amount over the longest period of time.
Three forces, stacked on top of each other, cycling every 5 years. That's the machine. And the exit is available to anyone. You just have to decide to take it.
Thank you for spending tonight with us. If you're listening to this at midnight, you're the person who actually wants to change something. That matters. We'll see you tomorrow.
That's all for tonight. Next week, we're tackling the psychology of lifestyle creep, why raises disappear, and how to actually keep them. Until then, sleep well.